Right now, I've already read a bunch of things over the last few days. I explained what fornication was. It's basically any sexual activity outside of marriage, outside of the bonds of marriage, and what the Bible would refer to, and what the Lord Jesus would refer to as marriage. And he said, as it was from the beginning, for this cause, Jesus said that marriage was between a man and a woman. He says, for this cause shall a man, we read it back there in Matthew chapter 19, for this cause shall a man leave his father and mother and basically become one with his wife, a lady, a woman. So he said that. And there's a whole lot of, when you start getting into the sexual things, people will say, oh, well, this word just doesn't matter these days. This word is dated. Cultures change, times change. Back in those days, they had this view and that view. This Bible is telling us. And the Lord Jesus Christ gave this revelation to Paul, and he was basically commanded to write this down so that we could stay in faith and we could access everything God had for us. And that's what it's for. And it says, in these days, there's a lot of people saying, oh, well, this just doesn't matter anymore. This just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're out there. You can just go live with it. If it feels good, do it. If you feel like you're born this way, do it. And do whatever you feel like doing. There's nothing right or nothing wrong. There is right and there is wrong. I'm not going to judge you and I'm not going to condemn you, but there is right and there is wrong. There is light and there is darkness. And then after Paul said this, he was already knowing by the Spirit of God that people were going to try to tell you this word was irrelevant. So he told you right in the next verse, verse 6. He said, let no one deceive you with empty words. He says if people start trying to tell you words, telling you that it's okay to do all this stuff and you don't have to feel bad and blah, 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 and this stuff isn't relevant for it. If people are trying to tell you this stuff, he said right here, he said, let no one deceive you. If you believe their words, you will be that will deceive you. That will cause you to be deceived. That's what deception is. Deception is believing a lie. That's the definition of deception. Deception is believing something that's not true. And Paul said that if people try to tell you something that is contrary to this word, those are empty words. They're vain. They're empty. They have no power. And it's because of these things that it says the wrath of God will come on the sons of unbelief. That word disobedience means unbelief. If you do not believe what this word says, if you don't believe what it said about Jesus, if you don't believe what it says about the new birth and accepting it, that the wrath of God was not intended for any man. It was intended for the devil and his angels. And we do not want that coming on us. We don't want to get involved in that whole mess. We got to believe and receive the gospel.